has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems. China and India happened way before anything happened in Ukraine.
Well, let's chat about this with Sumit Ganguly. He's a professor of political science and the Rabindranath Tagore Chair in Indian Cultures and Civilizations at Indiana University, Bloomington. And thank you so much for joining us on this news hour. India does have these really strong ties to Russia, but how important is it to the European Union that India either outrightly condemns Moscow's actions in Ukraine or scales back its dependence on Russia?
At a bare minimum, one would hope that India would scale back its ties with Russia, but getting India to overtly condemn Russia is going to be a really tall order. That's a bridge too far. But I think at a bare minimum, the EU can reasonably expect India to scale back some of its economic and military engagement with Russia.
Sumit, do you think, would New Delhi really be able to criticize Russia's attacks in Ukraine and still maintain close relations to Moscow going forward?
I think that's going to be exceedingly difficult, which is why the Indians have ducked on this issue. India's dependence on Moscow, particularly for arms, as your correspondent correctly pointed out, is so great that it's difficult for India to wean itself off Moscow in the short term.
Who needs who more in this situation? I mean, does India need closer ties with the European Union, or is it the other way around, especially given what we're seeing playing out in Ukraine?
In the short term, the European Union needs India much more than India needs the European Union. But I think over the longer term, if India takes a more extended view of the matter, then obviously the European Union is very significant for India's economic growth and well-being, not to mention the fact that India is still a working democracy and should throw in its lot with the democracies of the world rather than an increasingly authoritarian state.
Well, how do India's relations with China play into how the Modi government is dealing with the West right now?
That's a significant concern for New Delhi. India is not only dependent on Russia for petroleum and for weaponry and for markets, but also counts on the fact that Russia is not exceedingly close to Beijing. Though the Russians and the Chinese have forged a strategic partnership, there are still differences that exist. And India is keen on ensuring that a certain amount of daylight persists between Beijing and Moscow, and consequently, it is reluctant to push Moscow too hard.
Sumit, we've got 1 minute left, so very quickly, how long before India has to say something and take a side in this conflict? How long can they ride this out?
The Indians think that they can ride this out indefinitely for the foreseeable future. But I think at some point, the patience that the United States and the European Union has demonstrated probably will start to wear thin.
Sumit Ganguly, really great to get your analysis on this, speaking to us there from Bloomington, Indiana in the United States. Thank you so much.
Thank you.